I hate everybody. What the hell is going on? Respect and cherish this woman and listen to her, for goodness sake. She is driving me insane. Where is my precious boy? And I'm just like, girl, you're so much better than that. Is it me or is it her? Like, is it just because I hate her? Or is she really being that annoying? You know? I don't know how I'm gonna survive in this world from now on. I'm not ever gonna get over that. And I'm like, go king, but at the same time, is that a good idea? Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading The Fires of Heaven. So The Fires of Heaven is book 5 in the Wheel of Time series, which is an epic fantasy series consisting of 14 very large books, and I have reading vlogs for the 4 previous books on my channel that I will link in the description and also like in a card somewhere up there. If you want to either know what happened if you haven't watched it or if you haven't read the books and to be like up to date or to just refresh your memories on what happened in them. And yeah. Anyway, I was very excited to read this book because I loved book 4. But at the same time, I was dreading reading it because I knew something that was gonna happen like pretty much at the end. And it's something bad. Something that made me sad, and like I knew it was gonna happen. So yeah, I was excited but definitely dreading it. Also, I mentioned in some random video that it took me forever to buy these books because it was a different collection from the ones I previously had, like the 4 first books. But actually these covers are so much more beautiful than the other ones, so I am happy that I bought them. And anyway, there are definitely spoilers for what happens in this book. And having said that, let's go into the reading footage. Okay, so I am on page 294 and I hate everybody. Literally every single character except, very surprisingly, and I never thought I would say this, Egwene is getting on my nerves. And I guess Matt, and well, Perrin as well, because Perrin has not been in the book yet, which is a whole other issue in itself. But yeah, everyone else is getting on my goddamn nerves. So getting to what happened, one of the first things we see is that Patton Fane, who is one of the Dark Friends, goes to the White Tower, and he says that he can sense that the Horn of Valir is there, but also that the dagger is there. And he says that the dagger is a part of him, and I'm guessing that the dagger that he's talking about is the dagger that was bound to Matt in like book 1 and 2, because that's the dagger that's there, and that is the dagger that is like tainted with darkness and whatever, so it's apparently part of him. I don't know what the hell he means with that, but he does say that. And he also says that like he's not what people think he is, and like he's different and very cryptic, very creepy, and like he himself in general is very creepy. Also, we learned that Morgaze, I don't know if that is how you say her name, but she is the queen of Andor and she is Elaine's mother. And we learned that her lover, boyfriend, whatever, must be able to use compulsion because he is manipulating her. And then we learned that he is using compulsion because he's actually one of the Forsaken. And so he is manipulating her and he's controlling her, and basically he is ruling instead of her. Also, something that is even worse than that, we learn that the seals of the Dark One's prison and I think there are only 4 left. We learned that they have weakened. They can literally like be broken by hand or like with just any tool. So literally anyone can just open the Dark One's prison. So that is really bad news. So then we get to most of our characters who are still with the Aiel, and Rand keeps being an ass to Moraine, and he keeps like not wanting to listen to her and just being a dick in general. And I just want to punch him in the face. And then I wanted to punch her because she was just letting him just, talk like that. And then she was literally like begging and pleading for him to listen. And that was just like, no, that is not okay. Like none of this behavior is okay. What the hell is going on? And then I found like a photo on Pinterest that someone writing about basically this whole situation, and I was like, this is literally me. So let me just find this. Okay. It says, listen, I understand a magical woman surprise adopting you and forcing you to save the world can make you really wary of the person who surprise adopted you. I get that. But at the same time, every time any of the Two Rivers kids are wary about Moraine or say that she is totally up to something, I want to shake them and scream. She has no ulterior motives and genuinely just wants to help you do the right thing and keep you safe. Respect and cherish this woman and listen to her for goodness sake. And I was like, literally, even if when they say that like she's manipulating them or she's manipulating Rand, I'm like, maybe she is, but she's literally manipulating him to save the world. If I was in Rand's position, if I was the one who like had the burden to save the world and I had no fucking clue what I was doing, I would want someone to guide me, I would want someone to tell me what I had to do in order to save the world. So there is that, and yes, I am very angry. But let's just try to move on. So, still with them, they were attacked by dark hounds, and Rand uses something to kill them, and that something is called balefire. And then Moiraine tells him that balefire has been forbidden since before the breaking of the worlds. And then there's an explanation on page 142 that I will sort of read because I will never be able to explain as well as it's written here. So, yes. She says that when anything is destroyed with balefire, it ceases to exist before the moment of its destruction, like a thread that burns away from where the flame touched it. The greater the power of the balefire, the further back in time it ceases to exist. The strongest I can manage will remove only a few seconds from the pattern. You are much stronger, very much so. And basically, like, it's forbidden because, then she says here, hundreds of thousands of threads pulled from the pattern, gone for days already past. Whatever those people had done, now no longer had been done, and neither had what others had done because of their actions. The pattern itself nearly unraveled, like before it was forbidden. It could have been the destruction of everything, world, time, and creation itself. So balefire is dangerous, and I'm sure it will be used again because, why this whole explanation if it wasn't gonna happen? So then we move on to Nynaeve and Elaine, and they find 2 women that, they go talk to them because they think that they will be able to give them information from the Aes Sedai. But those women actually trick them and give them some tea that momentarily paralyzes them and makes it impossible for them to channel the One Power. But then Thom and the other guy they're with, Julian, they help them, and then those women say that the Amerlin wants Elaine. And we know that Siuan is no longer the Amerlin, but they do not. And also, I do regret saying that I didn't hate Nynaeve anymore in the previous book because she is driving me insane. And one of the reasons why I'm loving Egwene so much is because she is putting Nynaeve and Rand in their place, and we stand. Somebody needed to do that. We love to see it. Also, the last thing I read pretty much was that Elaine's brother, Gwaine, is now one of the children of the light, and he found Elaine and Nynaeve. And basically, Elaine is telling Nynaeve that he will tell the others that they're not Aes Sedai, but they're becoming Aes Sedai. And he will tell the other children of the light, so they need to run. And that is what they do, and that is where I'm at. So, like I said at the beginning of this rant, Perrin is not in the book, at least so far, and that is making me sad because he's my favorite of the Two Rivers people. And I mean, I know that his journey is not the most interesting in general, but I love him, like himself as a person. I absolutely adore him and I miss him and I want content from him. But on the other hand, I'm really glad that I am actually loving Egwene. Again, I hope I don't regret saying this, but I am actually really, really liking her. Also, Moiraine is making me really sad, and there is something that I know that will happen in this book because I always know spoilers for literally everything that I read or watch, and I think it's like pretty much at the end of this book, and that just makes the whole situation and me even more sad. And overall, I am definitely enjoying this book, and I mean, it's not as, like, I'm not as obsessed as I was with the previous book, but that book was just, insane and mind-blowing, so that's okay. And also, like, when I first started reading this series, I thought it was very slow, and I mean, I don't think it's as slow as, like, the first and maybe second books, but it's still, like, slower than most of the things I read, but I actually enjoy the slower pace now, and yeah, like I said, I am definitely liking this, and I will update once I read more, like almost 300 pages. Okay, so before we get into the actual book update, I just want to say that there is like dust coming from the Sahara Desert, or at least that's what the news article I read said. And well, this was what the sky looked like when I woke up this morning. And it is hard to breathe. Like it said that would be hard to breathe for like normal people, and I have asthma, so I don't breathe well normally, so we're thriving. But anyway, getting to the book. So the first thing I want to say is, I've read 2/3 of this book, and where the hell is Perrin? Like, where is my precious boy? My favorite character out of the Two Rivers people. Where is he? I need him. Also, another thing I want to say is that I need to make a correction, I think, because I think that on my first update I said that Elaine's brother, Gwaine, or whatever his name is, was with the Children of Light. But it's actually her half-brother, Galad, who's with the Children of Light. But I always confuse the two. I never know which one is which. But now that I've read more, I know that it's Galad. So, yeah. But getting to what happened. So, Morghese, who's Elaine's mother, and again, I don't know if that's how you say her name, but she learns that, like, she hears someone saying that a revolution has started in the Two Rivers because someone has raised the banner of Manadarin. And then she's like, a revolution, huh? Interesting. So, what have I been doing really? And then she starts realizing that there is something wrong because she doesn't even know like why she has been doing what she has been doing, which is really nothing because her boyfriend or whatever he is manipulating her. And then she's like, okay, I need to do something. So she sort of gathers some people who she trusts and like who want her to rule, and they sort of form like the resistance, and I guess she's gonna try to get her throne back. Also, we get Patton Fane, and he gets the dagger, the one he wanted and could feel that was in the tower, and yeah, he gets it, and he says that he is whole again, and that he has the thing that has bound him and, in a way, given him life. And again, that guy just creeps me out. Also, I think I forgot to mention in my first update that Matt's medallion kept Moraine from using the power on him. And then I was like remembering from the previous book, and then I went to look for it. And I found here, I even marked the page, like when he was in Ruidian, that he entered that place where he thought that he could ask questions, but apparently like he could ask for things, and then the others were like done, and then they like got him out of there. So what he asked for was, if I had my way, I would want those holes filled in his memory. And he got those holes filled, and even got some memories that do not belong to him. So there's that. And then he asked to like be away from there and back to Ruidian, and he was. But before that, he asked for a way to be free of Aes Sedai and the power. And when he got out of there, he had that medallion. So that's what the medallion does. And I guess that he did get all of what he asked for. But getting back to this book, Egwene goes to the dream world because she wants to talk to... I don't remember if she was talking to Nynaeve or Elaine, but one of them. And then she stays behind in the dream world, and she sort of gets lost in there, and she ends up in the Two Rivers. But the person she is in that dream in the Two Rivers is married to, and this time it is Gwaine, Elaine's brother, and like she's married to him, and I was just like, what the hell? And she was just like, what the hell? But then she sort of like started accepting it and started getting lost in the dream. And I was like, girl, you need to get the hell out of there. And then suddenly she realized that that was just the dream world and not the real world. And she was like, I need to get out of here. And she did get out of there, but she could have gotten stuck, because that's a thing that can happen. And that's why the dream world is dangerous. And that's also why she shouldn't be there without the Wise One's guidance, because they're sort of teaching her how to control the dream world instead of letting the dream world control her. So that could have been bad. Do I think it will be bad either for Egwene or someone else in the future? Yes. Okay, so next we have Siwan, Leanne, Emin, and Logain, and they find a group of Aes Sedai. And Siwan sort of has a plan to get Aleida away from the Amerlin seat, because Aleida is the new Amerlin. And she wants them to reveal to the world, or like the tower or the world, that the Red Aja were the ones who, because Aleida was from the Red Aja. And Siwan wants everyone to believe that the Red Aja were the ones who set Logain up to be a false dragon, like to pretend to be the dragon. That it wasn't something that he wanted to do himself. And the other Aes Sedai didn't even suspect that she could be lying. Because as an Aes Sedai, one of the oaths is that you cannot lie, like you are literally not allowed to lie. But now that she has been steeled, gentled, whatever, she's no longer bound by the 3 oaths, but no one really thinks that. And also Siwan wants to form a hall, which is like their council, I guess, and also a new Amerlin seat. And I know who that Amerlin is gonna be, because, again, I know spoilers of everything. So back with our other characters like Rand and the Aiel and whatever. So Rand enters his tent, I think, and Avienda was there. And I think she was like naked or whatever. And she kind of starts running away from Rand. And she creates a portal that leads to somewhere sort of like frozen. And he goes after her like, what the hell are you doing? Like, get back here, you know, where are you going? And so he goes after her. And they sort of get lost because she just continues to run. And then they stop. And then they have to remain together for heat. And I think you know where this is going. So apparently, I guess she saw in Ruidian that she would get with Rand, because she said that she has been trying to run, but the rings know what's gonna happen, like whatever. And so they have sex, and then Rand's like, let's get married. And then she's like, slow down. And then they get back to like Rand's tent and where they were before. And so I am hating Rand in this book. And also I don't like Avienda. So I guess, you know, they're good together because I don't like either of them. But they could just leave Elaine and Min out of it, because I do like those 2 girls. Okay, so finally, getting back to Nynaeve and Elaine, Nynaeve is in the world of dreams, and Brigitte, who is sort of like one of the heroes of the Wheel of Time, and she's one of the heroes, like one of the dead heroes, who is called by the Horn of Valir, and she is like bound to the Wheel of Time, and she'll be born many times whenever like the heroes are needed. And while she's not reborn, she is waiting in the world of dreams. And she has been talking to Nynaeve, and Nynaeve asked her if she could find one of the Forsaken. And so Brigitte tells her that she did find that Forsaken, and she takes Nynaeve there. But then that Forsaken, and I'm not even gonna try to say her name, so it's just gonna be the Forsaken. She attacks Nynaeve and Brigitte, and they both get hurt, and they both get like expelled from the world of dreams. And Nynaeve is like okay, but Brigitte is like really, really hurt. And Nynaeve tries to heal her because she's good with healing, like with the one power, she's good with healing. Also, my mom is calling me, but we're gonna ignore that for now. Yeah, she's good with healing, so she tries to heal Brigitte, but it's not working. So Elaine has an idea, and her idea is to bind Brigitte as a warder, because one of the gifts that warders receive is to be like stronger and have more energy and basically be able to survive wounds that others wouldn't be able to survive. So she binds Brigitte as a warder, and I just thought that was really cool. Also, Liandrin is with the Forsaken, like a bunch of them, and like that Forsaken that attacked Nynaeve and Brigitte, she sort of like creates a shield between like Liandrin and her power, and like she tells Liandrin, you will live, not steal, but knowing that you could channel again, if only you found someone to untie your shield. Yet that is only the beginning. And, you know, I obviously hate the Forsaken, but I also hate Liandrin, so that was just so satisfying. And yeah, that made me happy. And finally, the last thing I read was that Nynaeve found some guys, or I guess they found her, from, I want to say book 2, because I think they were like hunters of the Horn of Valir. And they take Nynaeve to a man calling himself the Prophet. And the Prophet, he's like the leader of, let's say a cult, because that's really the best word I can find for it, that worships the Lord Dragon. And cults are never a good sign. So yeah, I'm pretty sure bad things are gonna happen because of that guy. And that is where I'm at so far. And am I angry? Yes, because Moiraine is not having the... What is the equivalent of screen time to books? Like page time, page presence, whatever. That she deserves. And whenever she's present, it's just to be Ren's bitch. And I'm just like, girl, you're so much better than that. So I am annoyed, and like especially knowing what I know will happen. And also, to make it worse, Ren is always complaining when Moraine's like trying to actually teach him something, but then he also complains when she doesn't try to teach him something. And I'm just like, dude, what the fuck is your problem? Also, Nynaeve is really annoying when she's being a bitch to everyone, which is like 90% of the time. But when she was feeling guilty for what happened to Brigitte, and she was just trying to be like extra nice and feeling guilty, she was also so annoying that I'm just like, is it me or is it her? Like, is it just because I hate her? Or is she really being that annoying? You know? On the other hand though, I am still really liking Egwene, which makes me happy. And I think I like Brigitte too. And I am actually starting to love Matt, like finally, because I feel like everybody loves Matt and I'm just here like waiting for that to happen, and it is happening. And in terms of the book itself, I am definitely really enjoying it, just not as obsessed as I was with the previous book, but still having a great time with it, and I will update once I finish reading it. Also, I think I'm gonna record myself reading like the thing that I know that's gonna happen, but it will be traumatic anyway. So I think I'll record myself for that. I even know in which chapter it is. Like, that is how specific my spoilers are. But yeah, anyway, we'll talk to you when I finish. I hate everything. Okay, so before we get into what actually happened in this last third of the book, there are three things I want to say. And firstly is that Matt is that bitch. Second is that it's honestly criminal for Perrin not to be in this book at all. And third, I don't know how I'm gonna survive in this world from now on. Okay, but anyway, I have finished the book, and there is a battle about to start between Rand's people and another clan of the Aiel who are called Shaido, you know, whatever, who basically don't accept Rand as he who comes with the dawn because their leader, who's called Koladin, claimed that he is he who comes with the dawn. So there is a battle about to start between those people, and Rand actually wants to kill Couladin himself, like in battle, with his sword. And Egwene and Avienda and some other Aiel are like, you know, it would be a lot easier for everyone if you could just channel the one power and make the battle just easier, instead of just being down there with a sword to kill a guy. And he wants to kill the guy, but he's like, okay, fine, I'll go channel. And so he goes with Egwene and Avienda to channel, to use the one power for the battle. And while that is happening, Matt is leaving because he is done with like Rand and his dragon stuff, and he doesn't want to be associated with any of that anymore. He doesn't want to be like in a battle. He says that he doesn't know anything about battles, and so he's like, peace out. And he's leaving. But then while he is like going on his way, he sees that some troops are heading into a Shaido ambush. And so he's like, should I go help them? Maybe I should go help them. And so he goes there and he sort of like leads those troops, and he like saves them from the ambush, and at the same time they fight, and he is the one who ends up killing Couladin, which was badass. And I love Matt. In my previous update I said that like I was starting to love Matt as everyone else seems to love him, but now I fully love him. I stan Matt. Absolutely love him. After like the battle is done and Rand is told that Couladin is dead, he is like going on his way, and he passes the place where Matt is, and Moiraine and Lan are there as well, and like Rand is going somewhere, and he expects Moiraine to follow him and go with him, and she doesn't, and he's like, how dare she? And I'm like, dude, do you want her to be around you or not? Because every time she's around him he complains, and every time she's not around him he complains. So I'm just like, what's your deal? And he is still very much annoying me. And on the other part of the world where Nynaeve and Elaine are, there are raids to catch dark friends and anyone who's not ready to accept the prophet as like the true voice of the dragon. So that is happening, and also the Children of the Lights are fighting and like attacking the prophet's people, and you know there's a whole riot, fight, whatever going on in the city. And then we find out that Galad was the one responsible for that. He was the one who basically like told the other Children of the Light about the prophet and whatever, and he created that whole situation as a diversion for Elaine and Nynaeve to be able to escape that town, in order for them to escape the Children of the Light. And so he finds them a ship, and they go, and they reach the place where Siwan and Logain and Leon and Min are with the other Aes Sedai. And when they tell the Aes Sedai what happens, they want Nynaeve to teach them how to enter the dream world, because it's very effective to communicate with people who are in a different part of the world, which is what Nynaeve and Elaine have been doing with Egwene. And Nynaeve doesn't really want to do it, but she agrees anyway. And while she is alone with Siwan, Siwan tells her that she also wants to learn how to do that, because it's not required to channel.
So even though she cannot channel anymore, she would be able to enter the dream world. And Nynaeve accepts if Siwan lets her study herself and Logain and Lien, because Nynaeve is good with healing, right? And so she thinks that anything that's not death should be, healed. There should be a way to heal it. And so she wants basically to revert the gentling or stealing that happened to them and maybe make them channel again. And yeah, that is very exciting. And again, I know spoilers about that as well. So yeah. And while Nynaeve and Siwan are talking, Elaine is talking to Min. And Min is telling her about the sort of visions that she had about Rand and that they're gonna have to share him. And she says that it's not just the two of them, there is another woman, but she says that Min says that she doesn't know who that third woman is. And Elaine's like, well, in other news, I have a new friend that I would like you to meet, and her name is Avienda. And, well, obviously, Avienda is the third woman. And then Elaine is like, I hope she's keeping a close watch on Rand. And I was like, girl, she's keeping a close watch on him. And anyway, Rand receives news that Morghese must be dead, because Gabriel, who's like her boyfriend, lover, whatever, was crowned king. And Gabriel is, in reality, called Raven, and he is a Forsaken. And Rand knows that. And so Rand decides that he's gonna go to Camelin, which is where Raven is. But before he manages to really go anywhere, Lanfear shows up, and pretty much she kicks everyone's ass. And then Rand somehow got the upper hand, and he could have killed her, but he's like, I don't kill women. So even though she is a Forsaken, and she wants the darkness to rule the world, and she wants to break the world and whatever, I'm not gonna kill her because I don't kill women. And I was like, what the fuck? And so Moiraine shoves Lanfear and herself through the doorframe terangrial, and they both go through it, and seemingly that kills both of them. And again, no spoilers about that. Also, I did record myself reading that scene. That was the thing that I knew was gonna happen at the end of this book. And I recorded myself reading that. And I honestly should have recorded myself reading the next chapter, because that's when we read Moirain's letter to Rand. And it was really sad. And honestly, I was emotional. And I'm not ever gonna get over that. So before Moiraine did what she did, she altered her bond to Lan, in the way that once she was gone, his bond would be transferred to another Aes Sedai. So he just left in search for that new Aes Sedai who he's bonded to. Also, Nynaeve gets back into the dream world, and she finds that Forsaken that was after her before and that hurt Brigitte and all of that, and she uses an Adam on her. And the Adam is that thing that the Sianchun, probably not how you say that, but anyway, use on the women who can channel, that thing that was in book 2. So the mains are colored, and the Suldams use bracelets to control the domains. And so that's the Adam, the bracelets and the collar. And so Nynaeve used that on that Forsaken, and she could control her. And we all know I don't like Nynaeve, but at that moment I was like, Queen, we stand, I love you. So yeah, momentarily I was loving Nynaeve. I was telling my friend, and I literally told her, you're gonna hate me for saying this as much as I'm hating myself, but for now, we stand Nynaeve. And yeah, she was iconic, to be honest. Also, Rand did find Raven, and they fought, and Rand used Balefire on Raven, which is that thing that can destroy people completely, and some of their actions that they have done and whatever. And since he did destroy Raven, and Raven had, his channeling had killed Mat, Asmodean, and Avienda, they came back to life. And in book 4, one of the prophecies for Mat was that he was gonna die and then come back to life. So I'm guessing that was that. And after Raven is gone, Rand basically says that man should be allowed to channel since he is allowed to channel because he's a dragon reborn. Like, why shouldn't other men be allowed to channel? And I mean, I get that. I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, men go mad when they channel. So, is it really safe to have a bunch of men channeling, like freely going mad? But yes, he says that they could like go to him and he'll teach them how to use the power so they can all join forces against the dark. And I'm like, go king, but at the same time, is that a good idea? And lastly, like pretty much the last thing that happens in this book is that like Asmodean like comes back to life after Rand uses Balefire on Raven. And then he's like walking around and whatever. And then it says here, one step and he stopped, the blood draining from his face. And then he asks, you? No. And then the words still hung in the air when death took him. So Asmodean was killed by someone he knows, and we don't know who that is. And that was pretty much how the book ended. So as usual, the ending of the books in this series is insane and like a lot of things happen. And again, I don't know how I'm gonna survive in this world, Wheel of Time world, without Moiraine, because I have loved her so much from the beginning. And every time she appeared, which wasn't as much as I would want, was like good moments, you know, good vibes. And now she's gonna be gone. But apart from that, I am mostly happy with the outcome for most of the characters. And I think it's time to go into my final thoughts because I feel like I have been talking for 3 hours. Okay, so I am still not, and I will never be, over Moiraine being gone because I just loved her so much ever since book 1, and it was just so sad. Her whole arc in this book was sad, like from beginning to end, just sadness. And I will miss her so much, and it just makes me sad. And also her letter to Rand was so goddamn sad, and I am not okay. Having said that though, the Forsaken and I guess Lanfear specifically, like I hate them, but in terms of being villains, like good villains, I love them. Yeah, they're cool. Like cool in a bad way, but cool. So I guess I'm gonna talk about Matt next because Matt just grew on me exponentially in this book. I already liked him. I think it was like in book 3 we started like growing on me, and book 4 I was like, okay, he's cool. But it was still not on the level that I knew other people liked him. And so I was waiting for that moment where I was going to be like, Matt is incredible. And I'm there. This is the moment. Matt is fucking incredible. I love him so much. And also, I was thinking about like what happened to him in this book. And he did die, right? He came back to life, but he did die. And I was wondering if that means that his connection to the Horn of Valir is gone. Because at the end of book 2, he blew the Horn of Valir to call the dead heroes. And that was supposed to be done by the Dragon Reborn in the last battle, but it was done by Matt, like way before the last battle. And the horn would be bound to him until his death. So that meant that Rand would not be able to blow the horn. And I was like, that is interesting. But now that he did die, did that sever his connection to the horn or not? Technically, he didn't die because he was reverted. So like, did he die? Did he not die? Was it severed? Was it not? But the point is, I love Matt. Next, I just want to say that I am still bitter about the fact that Perrin was not in this book. And I get that he's doing his thing in the Two Rivers, but we could have at least gotten something, you know? I just wanted something because Perrin is my baby and I love him and I just wanted some content from him. On the other hand, I couldn't care less about Rand and his relationships. And I think that's a thing in general about this book. I mean, about this series, not this book, but specifically about this series. Relationships are not well developed. Like friendships, sure. Relationships, like romantic relationships, no. The only one I kind of like ship and care about is Perrin and File. But I don't know if that is because the relationship was well done or or because I love Perrin. And I know of a future relationship that's gonna happen, and from what we've seen so far, I'm like, how? Because they have literally had like 2 interactions. I mean, not 2, but you know. And none of them were meaningful, and they're not gonna have any interactions for some books to come. And I'm just like, how the hell are they gonna have a relationship? I guess the last character I'm gonna talk about is Nynaeve, because she went sort of through a journey in this book, and I did like when she was sort of like put in her place. That was satisfying, but I still don't like her. Even when she was like trying to be extra nice to Brigitte, she was really fucking annoying, and I just don't like her, except in that one moment with the Forsaken. Yeah, except from that, I don't like her. In terms of the book itself, I guess, I thought there were some really cool, interesting fight scenes, which I loved. And the plot itself, I mean, I love the plot of the series so far, and it was definitely a wild ride, and I had a lot of fun and a lot of anger. Oh, and speaking of which, I know that I complain a lot about characters annoying me and just making me really rageful, but that doesn't mean I'm hating the book. Like, I would hate the book if it didn't make me feel anything. If it makes me feel something, even if it's anger, like I hate the character, I don't hate the book, you know? As long as a book makes me feel something, I like it. And most characters I do like. It's only like Nynaeve and especially in this book, Rand, that annoy me. And I do like most of the characters, and I do like the book. Just want to clarify that because I feel like I've complained a lot in this vlog, but I do really like the book and the series in general, and most of the characters and the plots. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. I did not like it as much as the previous book, which was called The Shadow Rising, which I think was my favorite in this series so far. And below that, I would put book 3, I think. And I didn't love this one as much as books 3 or 4, but I still did really enjoy it. And I'm giving it 4 stars. And I think this leads us to the end of this week's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!